Bro, Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas. I like saying his name. I don't know why. Yordenis Ugas. But yeah, man, it was a good fight. Um, Both gave it their best they could that night. And first off, respect to Ugas, respect to Pac-Man. Um, Ugas had the perfect game plan. He had the perfect strategy and he employed it perfectly. And his coaching staff and his coach, and of course him, should be congratulated for that. Pacquiao's 42, but I saw his hand speed still there, and I saw Pacquiao threw over 800 punches according to CompuBox. Now, I don't always go by CompuBox. I think that's kind of CompuBox is not reliable in my opinion. It's a human. It's interpreted by a human, so there's human error. Like how are you supposed to keep up with all those punches? Clicking a button, clicking the missed ones, clicking the like. It's unreliable. Like it's just a part of the picture, but I didn't think Manny landed. I threw that many punches, but according to CompuBox, he did. So, but yeah. So you got to give credit to Ugas because Pacquiao was still throwing all the punches, and the hand speed was there. Pacquiao was in good shape, and Pacquiao never really slowed down, but he never really got going either. And to me, I think you could say it's because Pacquiao this, Pacquiao's legs, and Pacquiao did say that his legs, his calves in particular were they were like cramping up. They were, and he felt like he couldn't move because they were just stiff. He felt stiff, and if you look at the fight, it was correct because he wasn't using his legs really at all. He was just standing right in front of Ugas, and that's okay if he was darting in, and he was trying to dart in, but you could see he was falling really short, and I think that's what swayed me and the judges to give it to Ugas. Not that Pacquiao wasn't like he wasn't landing that clean. He was landing shots when he got really close to Ugas, but I feel like Ugas wasn't extremely aggressive, but he landed very clean like shots that everyone could see. You could see it from like if you're sitting in the nosebleeds, you could see Ugas landed a clean jab, a clean right hand, because that's how clean the punch was. That you could see it from a mile away, and of course the judges are going to see that. And then you see Manny on the other hand, like throwing punches that are falling way short, like just like right into the air, like leaping, missing, like he didn't have good distance in the fight at all. And I think that's when you see a guy missing by that much, like Pacquiao did, I think that affects the way you score the fight too, the rounds, because I know you don't score the fight by, oh, if a guy misses, you deduct points from him, but when you see him throwing and he's hitting air like that, like it kind of makes you wonder like, oh, okay, oh, he's missing by a lot, and then you see another guy landing perfectly. So yeah, it's not. I just think give credit to Ugas for the strategy was perfect. He wasn't running. He boxed. He wasn't aggressive. Sure, people say, oh, he should have attacked more after the jab or the double jab. He should have, or after the straight right hand, he should have maybe attacked Pacquiao more. But that's where he would have went wrong. It's good that he didn't go in for the kill or try to get more aggressive, because that's when Pacquiao would have won rounds. Like if you let, because since Pacquiao's legs weren't there this fight, if you allow Pacquiao to get that close to you because you're getting aggressive, Pacquiao's hand speed was there in that fight and the power's there. So Ugas is actually very smart that he didn't try to add on to his double jab or his right hand or the basic combinations. That's all he was doing was basic boxing won him the fight. If you go to a gym right now, any local gym, I know my gym around here, that's what they teach you. They teach you the jab, how to throw a jab. They teach you how to do a double jab. They teach you how to do a 1-2. that's basics, and that's what Ugas was doing. So, do I think Pacquiao got old is the question, and that's why he lost the fight. Obviously he's been getting old. Like, he's not prime Pacquiao. He hasn't been prime Pacquiao since the Margarito fight, in my opinion. He's changed his style, and that's why I'm actually surprised that he threw 800 punches, because that's like old Pacquiao, but obviously the legs weren't there to help him create the angles and get in and out and cover that distance. But I like what Teddy Atlas said in his podcast. I know I'm going all over the place here, but I like what Teddy said. Check his channel out, Teddy Atlas's podcast. He said, even if Pacquiao's legs weren't there, which they weren't, he should have judged the distance way better than what he did. He did not adjust at all, and he thinks it was the coach's fault as well as Pacquiao's fault. He still gives Pacquiao a lot of credit by the way he looked. For 42, he looked very good, like physically, but what do you call it? Like, so okay, he couldn't use the angles, he couldn't judge the distance. Oh, maybe that's because his legs weren't there. That's why he was falling short of his punches, because his legs weren't there. You could say that, but I like what Teddy says. He says, okay, I know his legs, you could say they weren't there, but why wasn't he using feints then? Okay, your legs won't get you to the target, but you're letting a guy hit you with jab after jab and right hand. Like, I know Pacquiao was blocking a lot, but they were hitting the back of his neck. They were still hitting him and doing damage, even though he was blocking them. Like, why wasn't Pacquiao feinting? Okay, so you can't use your legs to get out of the way, or you can't use your legs to get in and do your offense, but you can counter the counterpuncher. So you do little feints, like maybe with the left, like, or you kind of do like upper body feints, and you make Ugas play his hand, and you make him throw a straight right, or you make him jab, and then that's when you could get in better. And I don't see, like, I kind of agree with Teddy saying the coaching was bad in the fight. Like, Pacquiao did not adjust at all. And, like, if you told me they were telling him advice in the corner, I wouldn't believe it, because he didn't do anything different. And I know it's all up to the fighter to implement, but Pacquiao didn't really change anything, to be honest. He stayed the same throughout the whole fight, and so did Ugas. He stayed the same throughout the fight because he didn't really have to change. But, like, yeah, I just don't know what advice Freddie was giving him. Like, I didn't really hear it during the corner, what he was saying, when I was watching, because I was so into the fight. I don't remember what he was saying, but, like, he should have given better advice, for sure, to adjust somehow. But credit to Ugas. I wanted Pacquiao to win. Obviously, I'm a Pacquiao fan. Yeah. Like, you gotta, like, Ugas clearly won, in my opinion. Like, I haven't rewatched the fight, and I didn't score it round by round, but you could get the kind of gist of it by watching it. It's just Pacquiao was missing so badly that it made you like, oh, he's like, oh, he really missed that shot. Like, you know what I mean? His distance was terrible in the fight. That's the thing that got him. And maybe it was the legs, that's why he couldn't get the distance. But, like, Ugas was just right on with his shots, and Ugas didn't hurt Pacquiao either. But Pacquiao was getting moved by Ugas' shots. Not that they were hurting Pacquiao, but I think because Pacquiao's legs were stiff, that even if a shot, a looping right hand would land, it would move Pacquiao back, because his legs are like, they're like stilts. You know what I mean? They're like wooden legs. They're stiff. So of course there's no foundation. So you just kind of, the punch looks like it's doing damage than it actually is. But I don't think like Pacquiao was hurt, but the shots were moving him because his legs weren't there. And like, I'm not saying Pacquiao did terrible. He didn't embarrass himself. And do I think he got old though? Like I really don't know until he fights one more time. To be honest, that's why I want him to fight Ugas in the rematch. Uh, you got to think about it like this: he had a 2 year layoff. If you look at fighters that come back from 2 year layoffs, they never do that good right away. Uh, you could, like, off the top of my head, Keith Thurman. He came back, fought, was it Collazo or who was it? I don't know if it was Collazo. The fight before he fought Pacquiao. And Thurman looked terrible. You know what I mean? He was coming back from, I think, an injury. He hadn't fought in like over a year, and you seen like that. Like Collazo made him look pretty human in that fight, hurt him to the body, and then he fought Pacquiao, and obviously he did a bit better. That was a close fight, and he got better because I think like if he fought Pacquiao right away, he probably would have got stopped. Uh, but yeah, I just you can't just look at the 42 because he threw 800 punches and he had leg cramps. So obviously, you can't say it's not fully age related because the older you get, I assume your legs get cramped up more, right? Because they can't handle all the stress you're putting on. They don't recover as quickly. You get more cramps. So I know, like when you're younger, that could have happened too. You get cramps in the fight, okay, but like I assume it happens more often as you get older. So it is probably age related, and he's had calf problems for far as back as I can remember. Is the Shane Mosley fight? He took forever to get into the ring. I remember he made Shane wait like 45 minutes or something because he was stretching his calves on the treadmill. Uh, I remember that. The pay per view was supposed to start a lot earlier, but they were waiting on Pacquiao because he was stretching his calves. So obviously, when you have huge, massive muscle bound calves like that, the more muscle you have, the more prone you are to flexibility issues and you getting cramps. It happened to my uncle. My uncle has pretty big calves, and he actually just hurt his calf when we were playing tennis. He hurt his calf, and his calves are massive. Like they have like a bulge, like in them. Like mine aren't like that, but Pacquiao, like they bulge out the muscles, and I just feel like those people with the highly developed muscles there are more prone to that kind of issue. So I'm not going to say it was, oh, he got old. Give me one more fight to judge Pacquiao. Like, Ugas rematch, Philippines, preferably, but if they do it back in MGM, that's good. Doesn't matter. As long as he gets... I just want him to fight one more time to find out, is that it? Because it was off of a 2-year layoff and that was ring rust. And you got to think... if it was really the leg cramps, and he comes into the rematch, no leg cramps, and obviously he's going to be sharper, if like he's going to be a bit older, but I assume they would fight by the end of the year, November, December. So he would be sharper, less ring rust. Obviously, preferably if you have a 2-year layoff, I would preferably you want 2 tune-up fights to really get back in, but this is Pacquiao, and when you're at that pay-per-view star, you can't take 2-nut fights. But preferably 1 or 2 fights to get back in the groove. He got that 1 fight in. So I think if he looks bad in the Ugas rematch or whoever he fights next, then I think that's it. Because then you can't say like, oh, say he says it's his calves again or his shoulder like was hurting, is sore. And like I said, I don't think they're excuses at all. Like the shoulder injury with Mayweather, he still beat Mayweather and he had an injured shoulder. I had him winning by 2 points. So it really doesn't matter. And why the fuck would the guy want to get what do you call it? That numbing agent in his shoulder before the Mayweather fight? Why would he want to get that if the shoulder was healthy? Like, are you stupid? Why would, like, these people say, oh, we hurt it during the fight. It's like, why would he ask for it before the fight if it was not hurt? And then he gets surgery after the fight. So clearly his shoulder was hurt, and he still won the fight, in my opinion. What I'm saying is, like, that was legitimate. In the calf thing, yeah, I think it was the calf thing. But say if he fights again, and he has an issue with his body again, then you're going to start to say, okay, it is age and it's wear and tear, because then he's just not consistent anymore, right? Because like the Mayweather fight was 5-6 years ago, and since then Pacquiao hasn't had really any major issues. I think after the Broner fight, there was a worry that he had a tear in his retina or something, but it was very minor or something, and it healed. He didn't really. I don't know if he got surgery for it. I don't know if he did or if it healed by itself, but it was a minor thing, or maybe it was misreported. Let me know if you remember that. But other than that, after the Broner fight and since the Mayweather fight, he hasn't really had any major issues with his body. And I wouldn't say the cramping his leg is a major issue. But you could see it was bugging him. Like you could see he's not lying. The guy wasn't using his legs as much. So I think if he fights Ugas in the rematch and he fights the exact same way and his legs are like that, or say there's another issue with his body, then I think it's time. Because then you're just not consistent anymore, and that's age. Because, like, sure, he could keep on fighting. He'll win one. He'll win 2 in a row. Maybe then he'll have another bad night because his body's not feeling right. So that's why you got to start hanging it up when you're not as consistent. But since it was a 2-year layoff, I can't really say that he's done, right? I can't say that he's inconsistent because he came back from such a long layoff. Ring rust. All that. Maybe he overtrained, right? Because of Spence. And for all those who were saying that, oh, if I was Spence in there, he would have knocked Pacquiao out. I disagree. Styles make fights, and that is a totally different fight. And if Spence, he would get more aggressive, you would assume, because you would want to like put a statement on like the fight to get the throne, right? Like, Spence wanted the torch passed to him, and I just can't see Spence taking it easy like Ugas did. And I'm not saying like Ugas took it easy. He put punches on Pacquiao. But I'm saying is I think Spence would get more aggressive than Ugas did. Like, he would land the jab, and he's a southpaw too, so that's totally different. And I think that, sure, you could say, oh, Spence has a great jab. He would have landed the jab. But what would happen after when he's landing the jab? He would want to do more. He would want to rough Pacquiao up, getting inside. He's like, oh, I landed my jab. Now I'm going to throw the right. I'm going to go to body. I'm going to do this. And then that's when Spence would be in the danger zone of getting hit by Manny. But Ugas never got in that danger zone. He stayed at the end of his jab. He did simple, basic combinations. He didn't try to knock Pacquiao out. He didn't go for the kill. He never got aggressive to the point where, like putting a beating on Pacquiao or anything. And I think Spence would try to do that. I don't think Spence would do the same he did. Like, I know some people will say, oh, he would do the same thing he did to Mikey. But I don't think so. And I know Mikey's kind of flat-footed and Pacquiao was flat-footed in this fight. So you could say that could have happened. But I just don't see... This is a totally different topic. We'll talk about this in another video. But I just see Spence would get more aggressive because he would want to take the torch from Pacquiao. And that's when Pacquiao would land shots. And Ugas is not that type of fighter. So I feel like totally different fight. I wouldn't say... Like, to be honest, I think Pacquiao would have stopped Spence, given the circumstances. We'll talk about that in another video when you'll know what I mean. We'll talk about it in another video, but I'm actually dead serious that I think Pacquiao would have stopped Spence if they fought that night instead of Ugas. And you guys are probably thinking, oh, you're crazy. He couldn't stop Ugas. How he's going to stop Spence? Well, listen to me in my next video, and I'll tell you why. But let me know, guys. Do you want to see Manny Pacquiao, the Destroyer, the Mexicutioner? Do you want to see him back against Yordenis Ugas, the bronze medalist, I think? Very good amateur background, Cuban school of boxing. I respect Ugas because he seems like a classy guy. He showed respect to the Pac-Man after the fight. Was no trash talking. I know he doesn't speak English, but he seemed very respectful to me. And I think he was legit classy and a good classy guy. Like, he hasn't proven me anything otherwise. Like, um, he seemed pretty humble about it. He said he'd give Pacquiao a rematch. So yeah, like, I know you could say, oh, he's not speaking English, that's why he's not talking trash. But you could still talk trash if you're like Hispanic, right? You can still say it in your language. He didn't say anything. All the signs, like, everything he did was a total sign of respect for Pac-Man after the fight and how he's been conducting himself. And I think just growing up in Cuba, it's a different. It humbles you more, right? Than, like, say you're raised in America or something. You're all like Broner after their fight, like, oh, I won the fight, when clearly he got beaten up by Pacquiao. But I'm with Broner. I don't know. I respect him sometimes, and then I don't like him other times. You know, he came into Pacquiao's locker room and he gave him a hug, and that seemed legit. After the fight, he talked about the fight, and I think he's maturing more. But yeah, I'm getting off topic though. But yeah, like, give the credit to Ugas, man. Like, and I don't think Pacquiao's done. Like, I think in the rematch, if his legs are truly don't cramp up, and they actually prepare for Ugas, and they finally have a good game plan, I think we're going to see a great fight. We're going to see a better fight, and we're going to see Manny land more. And I think it will still be a close fight, to be honest. But I think it will be reversed. The scorecards will be reversed for Pac-Man, and Pac-Man will win the rematch. So if I had to judge the fight, I didn't score round by round. I would say 7-5, 8-4 for Ugas. That's just going off by heart. Like, I don't, like, that's just, if I had to guess what my scorecard would be. And the judges, so I think the judges had it pretty much right. And yeah, like, just good strategy by Ugas. Didn't run, kept his distance, hunched over, using the jab, keeping Pacquiao at the end of his punches, and Pacquiao couldn't find the distance. And yeah, like, Pacquiao, he had his moments when at the start of the fight, the first couple rounds, he does his trademark when he rushes in and he throws the left and then the jab to follow. I think he goes jab, left, and then jab on the last one. And he did it, that's how he dropped Thurman, and he did that against Ugas, landed the right hand. But other than that, when he didn't get close, he didn't really land clean like we're used to seeing. His left hand did not land from a distance at all. I don't remember it landing at all. I remember his right hand was landing more than his left, it seemed. Like I said, when Pacquiao got close, he landed shots, but he didn't land his from that middle distance that he usually does. Yeah. So I think definitely Pacquiao can make adjustments, and if his legs are good, and like I said, it's not an excuse. His legs weren't there. You can't say Ugas made him get all stiff-legged, but you can't take credit away from Ugas either that he didn't, like, make Pacquiao look like that. It's a combination, right, of both. But I feel like we'll find out in the rematch. That's why I want a rematch. We'll find out all these answers. So, guys, if you like the video, subscribe, like it, and let me know what you think. Should Pacquiao fight still? And yeah. On to the next video. Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley. Coming up. Oscar De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort. Those are the two fights I'm looking forward to that are coming up. What else? What other fights are coming? Oh yeah, Canelo Plant, Tyson Fury, Wilder. So yeah, we got some fights coming up.